Preparing to live stream the meeting. Everybody smile big because we're about to live stream the meeting. Done. Redirecting to YouTube. The meeting. Okay. This is awesome.
You are a technological wizard.
Amazing. I got to go back to the screen to find you guys. Okay. So here's the deal. Sometimes you get an opportunity to say, man, I was there at the beginning. I was there on day one. And this is one of those opportunities. This is the first and what we hope will become a long-standing part of the hybrid fitness racing industry. And that is a weekly show. We'll take your questions. We'll see how it goes. Listen, it's the first week. If no one joins us live, I'm fine with just talking to you guys. If you're joining us after, welcome. You're welcome here as well. And we want to bring you some good stuff. So for starters, if you said, Matt, who knows the most? Who follows the sport as closely as you and probably knows as much, if not more of you about the industry? And I would say number one, Ugly Dave. Number two, and by the way, that's his name. If you're new to the show, that's his name.
It works.
Says it right here. Dave Claxton, Ugly Dave. And then there's Anthony Perissini, just fresh over the boat from Rome, Italy, speaks very little English. So anyway, welcome, Dave, from Canada.
It's tough to understand you.
Oh, I thought Matt only did the terrible accents.
Yeah.
Well,
that's about as terrible as it gets.
So we're going to dive into some weekly topics. Some of these things may have been talked about on other shows, and that's fine.
Can we make a promise first, though?
Yes.
Like, so anybody who asks a question live, we promise you that we will not let Matt answer them all.
Why would I do that?
I'm just saying, they want real answers, not Matt answers. That's just all I'm getting at.
Okay, so the first question is the Shiz. What's up? Can we take a moment and acknowledge the Shiz for the great work he's doing?
Dude, the Shiz is amazing. Okay, I literally just got a Shiz package this week.
I think somebody has our address wrong because I've never seen any of the trading cards that I know he. See, look at that.
This is like, I was taken back like to my childhood and getting hockey cards and stuff. I mean, you're freaking awesome.
That's great.
He's amazing. His stuff is unreal. It like so many holograms and detail. I was blown away.
It's really good stuff. So welcome, Shiz. Shiz also a big fan of the Joe Budden podcast, not to be confused with the Joe Biden podcast. Okay. So Anthony likes to be prepared, but I would not let him be prepared for this one. When we had our last call, I was like, here's a bunch of stuff. Come ready. I'm really testing his control issues.
So I have like one thing I really wanted to share because I didn't know if you guys heard it. I got text messages yesterday about it, and I haven't seen anybody post, so I think it might be a breaking news.
Okay, then let's do that first. I have a topic, but let's go with yours.
So have you seen, you guys know about the mixed relays, right?
Well, first of all, are you sure it's not an April Fool's?
Listen. So it's the mixed relays. Apparently, they invited 20 teams to come do the mixed relays in Nice this year on Sunday. Well, along that line, they're going to have that space open. They're opening up the Elite 15 to make it the Elite 20 this year. Cologne is going to take the top 4 men. Anaheim's going to take the top 4 men. Cologne and Anaheim on the women's side are going to take the top 6. So this year, the Elite 15 is going to be the Elite 20 for World Championships.
Is this your April Fool's?
Yeah. Well, you got to, man, you play along a little bit, and then I can say,
why didn't you text me? Why didn't you text me early on? And I would have totally let you go.
Because he didn't want you to be prepared.
I didn't want you to be prepared.
I gotta be honest, guys. I thought
thanks for supporting that.
So there was like 2012 to like the pandemic. Basically, we got all these stupid corporate April Fools, and then they kind of stopped during the pandemic. I feel like people are like, let's not focus on the stupid shit. But now they're officially back, and I'd say 1 out of every 20 companies gets it right.
Well, a lot of them are going along with like, oh, we got a new pickle flavored drink, and I saw that from Powerlift today. I've seen that from others. And they think it's an April Fool's, and I get excited about it. I like pickle juice, so I'm like, oh, sweet.
Well, it does have a market for OCR, doesn't it? Like everybody's been down in pickle juice for years.
Yeah, like it would make sense to have a pickle drink.
DEKA had their April Fools. It was every station is the bike again.
Yeah.
It's just different names. Every station's the assault bike.
But again, it's like if it's, you know what I mean? It's just, come on, just don't, you don't have to bother. I'd rather you just focus on being a good company, all companies out there. And like once in a while, someone will randomly make me laugh. But I'm going to ask you guys, as CrossFit experts compared to me, this question that came up. What are you pointing down to?
Because that's where Anthony is on my screen.
He's over here on my screen. I mean, if for the three of us, you're the second most.
Okay.
Like, right?
I'm
Like
an avid fan.
It's kind of like in Inglorious Bastards, right? He's like third most. Gorlami. Gorlami. I'm the
Well, I
third
don't
best.
speak any Italian. Exactly.
Right.
Third most.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't speak CrossFit. But speaking of which, this whole thing that came up, right? This whole thing that came up with our friend Miriam, right? And poor Gracie, right? And on Dave's show, which I listened to today, Dave's like, well, she's a victim of the poor camera work. Now, I'm not a CrossFit guy, but a few years ago, I was with one Hunter McIntyre when he was setting the Murph World Record. And people were like, you know, you have to put the camera where the bar is. So that's the way you can tell. And I went, that's a great point. So here's a person, me, like take me, Matt Davis, out of the subject, just me as a person. I don't know how to do this. Oh, here's how to do it properly. End of story. Why would anyone, Tia especially, and great, like I saw Tia's videos were like a mile away behind her. It's like, why, unless you're trying to cheat, I'm not saying Gracie was, why would you do that to yourself? Why wouldn't you said something about they didn't have the floor plan, but first of all, it should be a cut and paste every year that they put in the rules. If you're doing a bar, have the camera set with the bar. And if you're doing this, anyway, why wouldn't Gracie do that? Why wouldn't anyone with a clue do that if I learned it the first event I was ever at?
So the last couple of years, they did have floor plans and stuff. And I don't know. He said it's a bad camera angle. That's what he said.
I said what I think is, I mean, because some people were saying the deal was she lost reps because they said her feet went above the bar during her muscle ups, right? The camera angle's coming from the floor, it's very down low. So if the angle's coming from low, it makes it more difficult to actually really judge. And it makes it to the point where, you know, like you say, if you're looking low up at the bar and her feet are closer to the camera than the bar is, it makes it look like her feet go higher. Whether they do or not, I can't really say because of the camera angle. I don't think they did. I think she was a victim of her own setup.
But why? But I'm saying, why would you do that? Why would you not put it where you can tell?
I would think in that scenario, because there was two different movements, the camera would have to be moving. So you'd have to have someone actually working the camera, which to me, if I was an elite CrossFitter or going for a high level competition, I mean, back in the days, they had the HYROX VCF and stuff like that over COVID. There was all those virtual comps. We kind of became experts in where to put your camera and to work together. So I would have had somebody, I mean, she had a judge. I'm sure somebody else was in the gym. I would have had somebody working the camera, bringing it up and bringing it down. But maybe both her and her coach felt that it wasn't even close and it would be fine. And say, Livy, now, Anthony, you can tell me this because when you're doing the open, if you're at an affiliate and you have a judge with you, you don't even necessarily have to submit a video, do you?
No.
So my question is, how can they dock her if she didn't really even have to submit the video?
So if she was one of the top times in the world, they usually ask for video evidence. Or if, you know, she's finishing top 5 overall, they're going to ask for video evidence because they do pay for the open.
Yeah.
Like first place was $15,000 or something. So
that's what I learned through listening to the barbell spin or watching the barbell spin, is that you can come in first and not win the money, or you can send video to win the money. So yes, she would have been better off winning the open if she didn't care about the money. And because they're saying you've got an affiliate judge, that's good enough for us. That's as if your friend or your relative couldn't possibly cheat for you. Well, you're an L1 judge, so
for the top overall people, they usually would request video too. So if you're whether you're top overall on a singular workout or you're top overall, like all 3 of your workouts, like Grace was, right? She didn't win a single workout. She was just going to be first place overall after 3. So they request the video for that. So she has to prove she can do it. Now, I watched part of her video, that last set of muscle ups they said she did, where she put her feet over the bar. First, is it toes or is it heels? Like if you go to the scorecard, it shows heels, but a lot of people were just saying, oh, it's just her toes. And it says on the scorecard, the feet rising above the pull-up bar during the kip means a no rep. Okay, feet, is it any part of the foot, or is it just your or is it your whole foot? So
Again, I don't know how 15 years into this year. I mean, we get on OCR all the time for silly stuff, right? And this is like CrossFit, we think is miles and miles ahead, right? And like, just put it in the thing. Like, hey, remember, this is a bar, so we can't tell what anything is unless you're level with the fucking bar.
Yeah, but what Anthony's saying too is bang on the money, because your foot can be a foot long. Like it can be a big difference between your toe and your heel. And if the wording is your feet can't go above the bar, like he says, is that toe crossing the plane, or is that your whole foot, or where is that? It's vague. And there's so many different sports with these rule issues, with the details.
And in the past, they've had like, your camera should be about 3 feet off the ground. Back when they had the layouts, they've said things like that. And that's really good for the squats, because you can see the squats really well. But obviously that kind of angle on a pull-up bar when they're doing bar muscle ups is not going to be as good. So why don't they trust the judge, who they trust for all these other things, in an affiliate to call it a good rep? Yeah, she kind of got, you don't know if she got screwed on it or not. I think the glide kip should be allowed anyway, so, because it's not faster. That's just my opinion, though. You got to follow the rules. So as far as the rules go, the rules say you can't do that. Make it clear as day.
I would think I'm with you. For
athlete.
Simplicity sake, take it at that standard. Let them put their feet above the bar. Who cares?
Or even like not just that, but I get it. Going back to the athlete, make it clear that it's not above the bar. If everybody else was able to, then you need to be able to as well.
Speaking of Barbell Spin, who I just mentioned, welcome to the show, Barbell Spin. He just commented. Thanks, buddy. All right. So speaking of technology, HYROX got some new technology. And I want my friend Anthony to talk about what he learned from watching video versus the what do you call it? The new tech.
Are you talking about the wall ball sensors?
Yeah. What did I say?
You just said
new tech. You didn't say what they were.
The wall ball tech.
So yeah, the wall ball tech. I mean, it could be good as far as what they're aiming for. So for the wall ball, it's never been to hit like a particular spot. I don't know how big the sensor is. Is it like 2x2? Is it 4 inches by 4 inches? Like usually when you do a wall ball, it's throw it above this place and hit the wall. The middle of the ball has to connect with the wall above 9 feet or above 10 feet. And that's what it is. So now they have to hit a direct dot, and how I'm not a fan of introducing technology like that, because you don't know when the sensor is going to get tricked or not. Is it just like a laser that, like the bing bongs every time you open a dry cleaner door, bing bong, right? Is it that, or is it so when the laser's broken, it counts the rep, or is it a pressure sensor, like it has to touch? And then how hard does it have to touch to actually get it to count? So it's just, the question is, how good is the technology going to be to count it? I heard some of the athletes in Houston ended up doing, 15 to 20 extra reps, whether they were no reps or whether the sensor didn't count it or they weren't hitting directly on the sensor. I don't know. But if you end up having to do more reps, or if one sensor is more delicate than the others, and say you're at the World Championships and 4 of the guys are all going for wall balls at the same time, and it comes down to, well, this guy's sensor worked better than this one's, or that it could create controversy. And I'm not a fan of that. I like the judge being able to call it, although it does make it easier for the judge to only have to watch the squats. What happens if the athlete squats down, they don't squat low enough, but when they throw the ball, it also doesn't hit the sensor, and the judge is only watching them, so they hit the no rep button, so they actually end up losing a rep instead of just getting a no rep because it didn't hit the sensor and they didn't squat low enough, so you get a negative rep.
Yeah, I see what you're saying on that one. That's you're actually, yeah, you could actually get two no reps out of one.
Yeah.
So as far as I understand, it's a sensor that has to be struck. So it's not aligned across, right? And people in Europe have been going on about this for a while. This was one of the things when we were always slamming on about how the sleds in Europe are faster. They were saying, yeah, well, your wall bar targets are huge and ours are tiny and we have to hit the exact target. So that was always a thing back and forth. So actually has been in the rules, as far as I know, for a long time, that you have to hit the center of the target. I don't know for exactly what you say. Is it a 4-inch center? Is it a 2-inch center? I don't know how far that is. Um, I'm with you that the tech can be iffy for sure. And you could have a difference between one sensor to the next, but quite frankly, we can have that in the judges as well. And we've seen that through here where we'll have one judge calling great on the depth of the squats, and then the one beside him just off in the wind picking flowers. So you can have that discrepancy there too. So I don't know if we're gonna personally. I want to see another one on a box on the bottom so they hit the depth as well. I don't die on that one. I still say that they can't be trusted to go to depth. This is a problem in CrossFit. This is a problem in HYROX. Anywhere there's a squat, the depth thing is an issue. So I don't mind the sensors. I say roll with it. I would maybe like to see, honestly though, don't have it in for Worlds this year. Get a year of testing at minor events. Don't put it in the majors. Put it in the regular events. Work it out for a year so that you're sure it works as flawlessly as possible. I mean, maybe they should have done that a little longer with the rowers before entering it into the majors, and we wouldn't have had that issue there. So a little more testing, and I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be a good thing.
Well, the next event that I will be at is New York. I plan to do some intensive testing with different people, different strength. I want to see exactly what you're talking about, how hard you have to hit it. Doesn't it occasionally not buzz when it's supposed to? And I think their logic is, well, so they're holding an iPad, the judge, and they're supposed to kind of still be doing both, right? Just like they would normally, is that they're holding this pad and they're watching depth and they watch it go up, and then they can manually, like if it doesn't buzz and they think it hit it, they can add it. So yeah, anytime there's electronics, it's like, what if it stops working mid-race? It's like, do they got to quickly pull out a counter? You know, it's like, to me, that's a better counter because it's like, it doesn't go down, it only goes up, right? Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Look, I finally got this stupid thing to work. I
I got
never
a
get that
glitch
to
on
work.
mine.
I never got it to work before. Anyhow, so I want to see it in person before I completely pass judgment. Gosh, this thing's crazy. But I like that they're trying. I like that they seem to try stuff. Again, we always compare to our friends over at Spartan. It seems like they seem to always be trying kind of in the right direction. So I want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, I like that it's going to be more visual. You can see the reps people are on. I kind of like just the people standing there holding the cards up that I'm at 70,
They
I'm at
seem to
80.
stop
Like
doing
that.
that though. I feel like they stopped doing that.
Yeah,
I
they
I
did.
I'm with you, Anthony. I like that. I enjoyed that, and it was every 10 because then
Yeah.
Right.
it did leave a little bit of, oh my God, are they getting closer? Are they getting closer? It's like 10, 10. So it left a
Yeah.
little bit of, guessing in there. And I don't want to be sitting there watching the wall balls the whole time going, are you at 30 or are you at 90? But that every 10, that was okay. I
Right.
could deal
And
with
then
that.
like the camera person has to like walk over and zoom in on
Yeah.
their, because I've been that camera person before. Yeah, it's like if you're holding it, oh, 80, right? So
Yeah.
I like that too. I don't know why they stopped doing that. Maybe they forgot. Maybe the paddles stopped making it to the
Well,
different venues.
so they had clicker. I don't know if you guys remember. This was
Yep.
like 2021 or something. They
Yeah.
used to have like a Bluetooth clicker where there was a sign up above the wall balls that held the number, and the judge would just click every time they got a good rep, and the number would count up. And they used to have that, but they took it away because all of a sudden, like you'd be pressing a button here and it wouldn't be counting or it would faulty. And so I'm just not super trusting of the technology in the event right now.
Do you think
Because
that
we've
was a
tried it
blue?
before.
Do you think that was a Bluetooth thing? Like if it had been like the old-fashioned wire to like your VHS pause button that you used to have, if you just clicked that one, you think that would have worked a little better?
Maybe
You
like
know?
just wired things are a little more trustworthy for now.
Yeah.
When you have Bluetooth and there's other Bluetooth things around, they can have interference. So
Thousands of them.
All right. Well, speaking of um Oh, sorry, I got distracted. Anything else you want to say about wall
Well,
ball tech?
What's that?
I said
the
anything
wall
else we want to say about wall ball tech?
No, I mean we got a question that says, I don't know if this was what Dave answered before about the depth judging. I mean, if there was a way to institute technology into that where you had two little dots and you could just stick them at somebody's hip and at somebody's knee and it had to click, click every time, it would actually, the altitude, the height of the sensor past the other one, then that could help.
Did you notice in DC, the Elite 15 on their shorts had lines?
So some of the ones that wore the shorts.
The more the shorts, there were lines on them. And as as a judge, you could have used that line on the shorts to help judge if the hips went down below the knees. I go off on the depth thing all the time. One, because it's terribly judged, and two, because the wording in the rules is not. Again, it's like the feet over the bar. It's hip below knees. So what part of the hip below what part of the knee? The hip is huge. The knee is huge. I mean, I would like it a little more specific. And if I was wording it, it would be the bottom of the ass below the bottom of the knee.
Oh, so you would
And
be higher. That'd be because I always
yeah,
look at hip crease, like where your hip bone is, as long as
I
that
get
gets below the top of the knee.
I get that, but sometimes, especially depending on what people are wearing, that can be really hard to judge
Well,
to
if you
see
wear
if
black,
it's
it blends in. That's
yes,
like if
exactly.
you ever listen to like some of the CrossFit videos and stuff, they're like, well, if you just wear all black, it's hard to tell, so you can't get no repped on video.
Yeah, that's why I like the bottom of the butt below the bottom of the knee because it's good for
Yeah.
everybody. And two, there are a lot of people who have like giant quads, and that makes it look a little more deceptive that they're
Yeah.
up higher when they're not. And so I think I would love to see somebody adapt that bottom of the knee, bottom of the butt. It's much more visually easy to see and easier to judge. And yeah, it's a little higher, but I'm fine with that as long as everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because again, in obstacle racing, we were always like, can we just get the first 10 athletes through correctly? Can we just do that? And then later in the day, we know it's harder to get volunteers, etc. But at HYROX, everybody is trying to qualify all day, right?
Mhm.
Everybody is trying to qualify for their age group to make it to world champs all day. And so you need to have decent judging all day. But as far as I can tell, I don't think they only book the good people in the morning. I mean, I've seen really good people later on in the day. I've seen people who are either avid HYROX athletes or like I just talk to them and they go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of like kids and their moms, right? And then we see
Mhm.
that at OCR, like someone just like came out or their church group or whatever. So I think overall it's more consistent. Yes, we see a lot of bad reps. I think at least wall balls, they try to have that covered. Where I've seen it slacking is like if you've got five people going in the lunges or the burpee broad jumps at the same time. It's kind of a zoo in there, and that's I don't know where the judge is there.
Well, I think the fact there is you're dealing with so on the wall balls, you're one judge per athlete. And yeah, that does help. In those areas you're talking about, you could be two, three judges for 50 athletes.
Right. So how do you fix that? That's what I'm saying. Because someone could really that's like a good space, a good part of the race to make up some time, right?
Yeah,
No
I've seen
one's
a
really
lot of
watching
lunges.
me, right?
I've seen a lot of lunges that are not like we've all heard about the burpees, right? And seen all sorts of all different burpee cheats here.
World record burpees.
World record burpees. I think Martin Muselius probably had the most famous one where he was like dive bombing on Instagram. It was pretty good. But lately I've seen a lot of lunges not coming up to full extension. And that was something that I always thought would be a problem. It didn't end up being as big a problem in the beginning, but I'm seeing it more and more now, especially in the later, not maybe one, two, three, but four, five, six down the pack. You're seeing a little bit of not coming up as high and in doubles as well, where people have a little more energy. They're moving faster. So they're not going to full extension. They're coming, you know, they have more pace. So they're not doing it quite all the way. So, I mean, just the only way you can do that is just more judges in the area. I mean, that's it. You need more
But should
judges.
they limit like who can come through? Like when I was watching those when those the big Go Ruck Money event was
Mhm.
late in the day and Dylan was like trying to, go around people.
Yeah, but then you're limiting income, and they're not going to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to put through as many people as possible. So right now, I think we're really happy when we get the elites going through on a fairly empty course and getting there their way through. But to limit later on, I just don't see them ever doing it. The less people in the course, the more judges, the more it'll help, and the more defined the rules are.
So something Anthony and I talked about a little bit that I'd like to get your thoughts on as the majors are now over. Is the system working? Are we getting what we want to get for our finals? And looks in these last couple of races are going to fill in those last couple guys and gals that probably deserve to be there. I say, what do you say, Dave?
I think this is where I'm going to be on an island on my own against you guys. No, I still think it's Shies. It's better. It's better than it was, but it is still time-based. And since it is still time-based to get in the majors, so the majors onto the worlds, great. That's fantastic. I love that. You race your way from the majors into the world championship. I think that's fantastic. The only issue I have with that is I would have had it rolled down to 6 and not 5. I don't understand why you wouldn't put 3 through instead of 2 when you were originally going to have 3. Do you know what I mean? So let's say all top 3 people have already qualified. It only goes down to the next 2. Why it doesn't go down to the next 3? I don't understand that.
Because now it's always somebody has to be a top 5 at every event if you want to be in the worlds.
I understand that. But to me, top 6, top 5, what's the difference? So
sounds cleaner, even if it isn't.
Yeah. But
extended podium, top 5. I don't know.
For me, I think that as long as the courses are not the same venue to venue to venue, which I think is like chasing smoke with a butterfly net. They don't seem to be able to make that happen. As long as it's that based, I think time needs to be put out of it completely. And I would love to see the majors be done as opens. So scrap the grid layout for the majors, make it open, and you can put a small time limit on it. Say for men, any man who's ran a sub 65 is eligible to go into that open wave to qualify for the world. Any woman under a sub 70 is eligible to compete. And every one of them is like that. Top 3, 5 of them from each one. You get your 15 of worlds, nice and clean. Everybody had a chance to race their way in. Simple.
So no qualification before the majors. Just have majors.
Just no qualification for a major other than, like say, maybe hitting a very easily attainable for an elite athlete, even on a bad course to make. Like any elite woman can get a 70 on any course. Any elite man can get a 65 on any course. So yeah, that would be it. And then it's open. Go for it.
65, I feel like is most of the adult men. I mean, I think you got to go lower than that.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. And I don't care how many guys are in it. I mean, why limit it?
Well, so they do that though. That's what the last chance qualifier is. It's open to anyone.
And they're the best ones, so make them all that way.
But they need a product to grow the sport. And the product to grow the sport is the majors. And that's why, like, I actually think it shouldn't be top 5. Maybe it should just be top 3 from the majors that qualify. So there's even more spots at the last chance qualifiers instead of coming from the majors. And
but see, that's making the last chance qualifiers even better, which I'm saying make all the races like the last chance.
But they need a product, because you're not going to sit there and just film all day. Like, these are the
no
field. So
you would still
do you remember when Homer Simpson was going to develop the best car, the best way to find your car?
Oh, that's a good car.
So like you're like, just make them all that way. I'm like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of what's special about these races.
The thing is, you're not making every race that way. You're still only having 5 of them. And then those races, there are the 5. And you seat your people in the first wave. And you can put up to 30 people in that first wave. So you're going to have your top 30 people who are likely you're going to be able to pick your top 5 out of that very easily. If you can't, there's probably a problem. But you're getting 30 people through that wave. And then the other people, they've got their shot. Pure fairness to everyone.
I wouldn't have been able to pick the top 5 men at any of the majors if it was an open.
Could you have got them in the top 30?
Well, in the top 30, but
then they would have been in that first wave.
Yeah, but they're not running 30 at a time. They're running 15
they can.
at a time.
But they can.
Or 20. Or yeah, but then it's not the grid format, which is what they like to see, because that's their like sport format.
I understand that.
Which you have to admit is working, right? The live production looks
very
great.
Visual. It's the product they're putting out.
The live production looks absolutely fantastic, and I can do nothing but compliment it and say how great it's become. However, they have never tried this kind of money and this kind of effort into their live production on a non-grid based race. So we don't actually know that it would affect it whatsoever.
Well, I mean, except that you got to move a lot more cameras around.
Yeah.
So you're making it sound like that's the whole reason it works, is that they've they can spend a good amount of money and get this really good product. You're saying, well, let's complicate that more and have then you got to have cables that go forever. I mean, it's a whole other thing.
Make it even better though. I'm just saying. You say
By the way, where would you have those majors? Same thing now, like 4, and then you rotate the 5th one. Is that what
I don't care. Like where they place them. Try to spread them out as best you can.
So 1 in North America, 1 in Europe.
Sure, move them all around.
Okay,
spread them to your hotbeds. I mean,
I think they should split. I think they should split North America between East and West, because there might have been a Chicago and a DC major, but those are still 4 and 6 hour flights for us. So.
Oh yeah.
Poor baby. What a whiner.
Dude, you're preaching to the choir. Everything's a 10-hour drive for me. I got you.
Yeah.
Dave doesn't want to go unless he can spend a day and a half in the car. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's part of the road trip. No, anyway, you asked me what I think is the system right. No, I think the system would be better if it was more fair. At this point, I still believe, I think I heard you guys talking about it, and you were saying who do you think should be in there that isn't in there? And I mean, that's great and it's fine. Maybe you can say some people are, some aren't. That's very subjective. But what you can say is under this system, you almost didn't have Rich Ryan in there. You almost didn't have Dylan Scott in there. You almost didn't have Paleo in there, if not for massive, massive roll downs. So it was a little bit by luck that those guys got in.
But I don't agree with that, because if it wasn't that way, if they didn't get the roll downs, that means the same people were going to the majors, which means those top 5 spots would have been filled by people that had already got their spot, which means there'd be more in the last chance qualifiers. So we don't know until after these last chance qualifiers who was actually left out.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is under that other system where everybody had a chance to race, you wouldn't have needed that roll down or that lucky break for Paleo being in Chicago to have them in there. He could have raced it no matter what.
But he might have still had his opportunity in Cologne or Anaheim. Like he
Maybe.
still has that opportunity. And so I mean, I get everybody's like, oh, well, I got lucky. You didn't get lucky. It's if Hunter and Rylan and Kent and if all those guys had gone to, and Alex had gone to every single major, then they would be like the women's side right now, where there's only 7 spots filled or 8 spots filled.
If Lauren wasn't so greedy, right?
Well, it's just that the men's side, you had a different top 3 basically every single time. Yeah. Where on the women's side, the three people were the top 3 every single race.
And so that's where I would have liked. Sorry, my bad. But go ahead, Anthony. Sorry.
So like they're only allowing that qualifier to 5th place, and this is why I actually liked the 5th place, because that leaves more spots in these open fields where now, like, somebody, for example, Belle said she's not doing it because it's not easy for other people to get in. Well, if you don't have the opportunity all year, or if you're coming in late, say Christy or Rama O'Connell wants to join the world championships there, her chance is now in Anaheim. She has to just place top 4. Like,
yeah. And like I say,
there's that opportunity.
On the system, I say she would have the same thing. Only every race we'd know there's 3 people getting qualified from this race.
Yeah, but then it would be completely filled to 12, and the last chances would only have 1 and 2. That's why,
well, that's if you wanted to have 6. That's why I was proposing only 5.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think the way they did it, because they kind of blended both. They only let the top 5 in, so we saw the 2 extremes from this year. The women's field, where all the people went to every single race, so you only got 8 qualifiers over 4 events. And then the men's field, where it was 3 qualifiers every single event, all 12 of the original spots are filled, so there's only 3 available at the LCQs. So you kind of got the most extreme almost of both sides. And I don't know, without the roll downs, you'd have more of the women's side. The men's side would look more like the women's side. And
this is all year 1, right?
Yeah.
Of doing it this way. Next year, maybe it'll flip. Who knows?
We'll see after the last chance qualifiers. We'll see what happens. Who are the actual 15 going to be? You don't know who the last 3 men are yet. You don't know who the last 7 women are yet. And then the question's going to be, okay, if you think somebody should have made it, who in that top 15 are you going to take out?
That's what we were saying.
You
Who in
know,
that
no,
top
I
15?
totally get that question. I just think that question is unanswerable because it's such a matter of its and buts. I would look at that question and I could reverse it and saying who outside that top 15 should be in because there could be people there, right?
Right, but
You don't know.
to put them in, you have to take somebody out.
Yeah, and that would
So
just depend on, like so many different variables. I would know I can't base it on that. I like it. I thought you'd be more math, Anthony. Come on, more math.
but that's it. Like there's 15, and I'm sure there's people that could. They're like their best opportunity if they got it, maybe like if they did the absolute best, they could get in. But they didn't. They would have 6 opportunities basically. If they went to the 4 majors or if they got a roll down at the majors, say they only at the minimum they have 2 opportunities, Cologne and Anaheim. If they're not getting it done in one of those, then maybe it's not their year. Maybe they're number 16 and they don't get to be in the top 15. And next year, better luck.
Can you hear this, by the way?
No,
Hear what?
nobody's listening to you.
So the spot that I'm in, they're doing construction, and there's a vehicle. You've probably driven one of these, Dave. I would call it like an apple picker, right? Like
No idea what you're talking about. Anyway,
it's got a big scoop in it, and they're like it goes up and anyway, this thing is like backing up, and it looks like it's gonna hit the fucking window that I'm in this office. I feel like the apple picker is gonna dump stuff on me. It's very close to this, and it's going, and then it looks scary. Anyway, I
as long as
digress.
it's not horse apples, you're fine.
What's that?
As long as it's not horse apples, you're fine.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Okay, where were we?
We have
Anthony keeps looking over at the questions. I'm gonna stop looking because I know Anthony will check so I can stay focused. Anthony, which question should we answer? You have to read their name too.
Todd Cholos. Any idea how many tickets constitutes a sold out event like New York, or how many waitlist tickets were released? I don't know.
Venue to venue, it depends on the size of the venue. And
Yeah.
my guess is New York is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 to 5,000.
New York's the one where they're going inside, outside, right?
It's all outside.
It's all outside.
Yeah, it's outside on Pier 76. And then if you look,
it's just covered. It's outside but covered. So
and it's almost like a sunshade.
yeah. But to answer the question, to look at actual numbers, which you can't see my screen, right? I don't want to share my screen.
No.
Good. So, Hyrox loves to say their numbers, and they typically, include spectators and tickets sold and everything else. We can only go with actual finishers. So they're big events. All right. Copenhagen just happened. Okay. Copenhagen and Karlsruhe. Okay. Both 3,000 finishers. So I'm guessing that means they can sell 4,000 tickets and like 1,000 people don't show up, or maybe a little bit somewhere in between. Again, that includes all finishers. So that's singles that do doubles, etc. In America, we weren't even cracking 1,000 for a long time, but DC was close to 2,000 finishers, and they were going all day. Meanwhile, you've got these 2-dayers, Manchester, 6,500 finishers. So again, what do you think they sell? Like 7,000 tickets? Like, I don't know.
So it sounds like 2,000 to 3,000 per day.
Per day, depending on the venue.
Per day of the event. And if New York is just a 1-day event, then their tickets are probably in somewhere of 2,000 to 3,000.
Right. But why not do a 2-day? It's like I feel like they
venue
wanted
cost.
right. And I feel like they seem to have this idea of the venue as one of the stars, which is kind of cool, but not really. I'd rather just be anywhere you can fit us. But I think they think this is iconic. We'll get good media, that whole thing. And it's like, we don't care. Like, I don't want it to be, Kmart parking lot, but I don't need it to be end all be all venue. I'm fine with whatever the local civic center is.
It's kind of a destination thing. I think some of them feel like I'm hoping that they have one here at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City.
Never happen. It's never happening.
Why not? They're doing one in Mexico City. That's way higher than here. So, if they're going to go to Mexico City and have a HYROX, which that sounds like it's going to be really hard, why not come to Salt Lake? Why not go to Denver?
I'd rather go to Salt Lake than Mexico City.
Have you made any contact, Anthony, with the Mormon community? Will they like HYROX?
I don't know. I'm working from home right now, so I don't have a lot of outside interaction. Go to the job site like twice a week, once or twice a week.
Well, so there was another question there about cities and fall schedule. And again, this is a very interesting prospect because, you know, with Spartan and these other obstacle races we're used to, it's like they come to my city, the weekend's over, boom, it's coming back next year to this city. HYROX does not do that. They don't want to put too many events on the calendar ahead of time because they don't want to lose sales in the meantime because people travel so much for these. And they haven't let us know what the new season is. I'm under the assumption that everything since DC it now qualifies you for 2025. They haven't said that yet, but wouldn't it be safe to assume that since that was the last major? So if you do one this weekend, you're qualified for next year.
If they're gonna keep time wise, I'd be hoping it's a 6 month trailing. Like, are you talking about for the majors? Like, if you want to qualify for a major out of the
Sorry, for
time,
the majors, right?
they
Other than
need
like the 7 auto qualifiers, they'll probably have.
5. I think they're gonna keep it to 5
I'm
because
just
that would
kidding.
be the
It's
winner of
successful.
each major,
Yeah.
and then the winner of the world championships. And if somebody like Lauren and Meg were the only women major winners, so that means the top 3 at the world championships rolling down should
But
be
how
the
do I
other.
get a time, right? Is my time start the minute DC ends? Okay, every race that's happened since then, which is
No, I was like I said, I think it should be a trailing 6 month. So 6 months trailing, and if your time is older than 6 months, it gets taken off the leaderboard.
why would you think they would do that when they did a year for the first time?
Oh, I think hopefully they learned from the year. I just think that should be 6 months. I didn't say I think they're going to do that.
I think
think
a
it
year's
should be
fine.
6 months.
I think I'm okay with if it's that'll end up being the major is until June, so that'll be a 10-month window. I'm fine with that. What do you think, Dave?
I like a wipe the slate clean and start right after the last major.
So, right, that's what I'm
Yeah, no,
saying.
I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. I know this
So
doesn't happen a
Glasgow,
lot.
Madrid, Houston, Karlsruhe, and Copenhagen all you qualify if whatever the lowest times are, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna go by the times, that's how I would do it right after the last one, and that way it's all that season. There's
And
no back before. I don't know how far back they went this year, but I know it was a strange, weird, obtuse number. But
yeah, and
yeah,
that's the thing. The other thing is that people talk about the fall schedule, which we don't have yet for the US, but it's also new countries are still being launched. They're selling however it works that they sell these things. Like we don't know. There could be one brewing under that's like, oh, by the way, um, what's a country that hasn't had one yet? Czechoslovakia,
sure.
South Africa.
Albania.
Canada. Just saying.
You guys got one. Stop your
I think
quit your
there's
complaining. You got
I,
your Canada HYROX.
I think I saw a South Africa like HYROX might be popping up or something, but that one could be.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
Did you guys sell that out yet? Oh no, you're halfway sold out. Whatever
Yeah,
that
they're
means.
more than halfway sold now, and it's not till October. I have a lot of faith it'll be sold out.
Right, but again, so we're assuming that's 3,000 tickets.
Yeah, somewhere in that neck of the woods. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you could have done a 2-dayer there, Toronto.
Well, yeah, but I think in Hyrox defense, it is first time there. North America hasn't proven as with a good of sales as say the UK or anything like that.
Right, but
So
it's already
it's already doing well. So who knows? I mean, maybe if it does sell out, maybe they add another day. I don't know. I think that was where they were tentative. It's first time in Canada, first one. I think they'd rather have a sellout, even if it's just for one day, and make it a big event that way, and rather than have sparse.
Will you, Dave, as the foremost hybrid show in Canada, will you keep track of Canada specific records, Canadians in Canada and Canadians in other countries?
Yeah, Maria Fetchik has it. There you go.
Done. And what about men? Who's got it for the men?
I think Austin Azer.
Right, but we don't know who's going to show up to that Toronto event.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be a good event. I'm sure there's a lot of people from down there coming up here for it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Is Isaac Sanderson Canadian?
Yes.
So does he not have? Is it Austin over him?
I think Austin's time is still faster than him. I know the last time they went head to head, Austin won. It was Austin, Jesse, then Austin, Jesse, then somebody else, and then Isaac in that particular race.
I just interviewed Isaac. He's like super young. Like
yeah, man, he's unlimited potential. That guy.
Yeah, he's coming, dude.
Yeah. Him and Lauren Griffith went out and just did that doubles in Houston. So,
Yeah, he said they were looking to break the record. He posted me and said, "Hey, I'm about to go out and break the record." And then apparently it was like a shit show. It was like a relay shit show or a double shit show.
It was just crowded. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you won't find a better guy, a better young kid than him. He's fantastic young guy.
Does Maria have her team picked for the 4 for the mixed relay?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Oh, okay.
So do
Are
we
you
know
on it?
No, I am not on it. I should be. No, but I can't. No, I'm kidding. I don't.
Is little Bethany on it? Bethany should be on it. She's fast.
Bethany, I believe did have, or what was it? Was one of the people considered, but she is not going to be able to head over. So she was chosen or not. I don't know. Either way, she would not be able to go.
Do we wait a minute? I just got an email from HYROX. What do you think it is?
Anthony's thing that they saying
Yeah.
he's right. They're going to do 20 instead of 15.
Hey, expanding to the Elite 20.
Oh my God, you were so right.
I'm down with it.
It's HYROX Florida news.
Ooh.
They promoted a bunch of run clubs,
Yeah.
et cetera. I shouldn't have looked at that. I just had a thought and I lost it.
Sorry. Well, if, go ahead.
It was something about Canada now. Oh, do we know all the captains? We've seen people post in sort of fits and starts. Is there a list? Do we know all the captains of all the countries?
Somebody posted all of them. I don't know exactly who it was, but I seen them. Like James Kelly is captain for Australia. Maria is for the Canada. They have 3 different people. It's not the United Kingdom. They left Wales out, and it's Ireland, England, and
Scotland.
And then Wales doesn't have a team. So 3 of the 4 United Kingdoms.
They're going to spike a civil war.
Yeah. I believe Linda's the German one, and Alex is the Austrian one. Hunter's the US one, which, I mean, the US could field 2 really good teams.
Yeah.
But it's invite only, so I don't think they're going to get a second invite. I think there's only going to be that one.
All right. So who do you pick? This is actually a great topic. So who do you draft if you're Hunter?
If I'm Hunter, or if I was picking the top 4 for a relay for any country. Like, what do you?
No, I'm saying you're Hunter, so you get to pick the best Americans. You get 1 man and 2 women. Who do you pick?
Well, all the men are pretty close on the station, so you have to pick the fastest man. And the fastest, there's 3 that could fit it, but I think Paleo is part of Spain. So, I mean, you're going to have to pick between Rylan and Rich and Kent and Dylan. So, who do you think is going to be the fastest? I would probably pick Rylan as the other male, and then Lauren and Meg as the women.
Would you change anything with that, Dave?
Honestly, Lauren and Meg are, honestly, it's kind of a slam dunk. You don't even really think about that. But and then it's a lot easier, I find, too. You put one of them on the wall balls because they're just going to smoke that. And the way you do it, I think it's a lot harder when comes to picking that second man, because in that situation, and this is something actually Maria faces much more up here, is maybe you pick a specialist who can just hammer 1K. And then let's, for argument's sake, say Hunter's going to do the ski erg and the burpees. So then maybe you want a guy who's a specialist who can just smash 1K and push a sled like mad. You might want to go outside the realm of normal thought. And that's something more we face here.
But they have to be in Nice. So remember,
have to be in Nice.
If you choose a specialist from another sport, that's great. But then you got to get them to Nice as well.
So wait a minute. They can be anybody?
Yes.
Yeah, it could be anybody.
In the world.
Be a Claire Toomey.
Yeah.
Matt Frazier.
I guess I hadn't thought about that. But I guess what is the differentiator going to be for a specialist? Like how much better is anybody at any one of those stations that Hunter isn't?
Right, but they have to be able to run faster.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
there are some really good sprinters that can do a ski erg maybe 5 seconds slower than Hunter, but they'll run 10 seconds faster.
All right, but even
So-
if you took Hunter out, even if you took
Yeah,
Hunter out and
well-
you picked two of those men, any two of those men you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
If you've got Kent and Rylan, or you've got who are the other two men?
Dylan.
Rich and Dylan.
I know I promised to be awake for this long, but my brain does function a little bit slower.
Rich,
Dylan
Dylan,
and-
Rylan, Kent.
Yeah, all those
like,
guys, right? Let's say you found the greatest rower in the world. Is the difference, what is it, 20 seconds? Like, what's the difference?
Well,
Like-
I mean, if you got the greatest rower in the world, they're pulling like a 107, 115 for 1,000 versus
Yeah, I think about a 150.
Hunter on the rowers doing a 130 and going really
Okay,
hard.
maybe
But
row is the
rower-
row is a bad example.
the rower would have to be able to run just as fast as them too, because each station is a run and a
No, I know
station.
what excuse me, I've done a couple of relays myself, including one that you stood us up on, okay?
I would have had to go right after my event.
Which you knew already, and you still wussed out.
Yeah, I did.
So we
How's
have a
that?
situation where with the Canadian team, and I'll tell you right now, there's a gentleman that maybe you've heard of or not, Cole Learn, and he's a CrossFitter. And we've seen him come out for a HYROX sprint that we had actually at Maria and Mike Fetchick's gym. And that man, for the short period, outran Jesse Bruce and pushed the sled like it was on ice skates. And that's the kind of guy that you don't really know about. We may not have ever seen that you could bring in for something like this. Now, in the US team, it's different. You guys have an embarrassment of riches. So it's probably not likely something that, but something for
There's
like
only one
us-
guy named Rich. It's Rich Ryan. There's only one guy.
Okay, an embarrassment of Ryan's? I have no idea. But yeah, it's something you guys probably wouldn't see, but something like on the Canadian team or perhaps one of the smaller teams like in Ireland or whatever, you might see something like that where somebody comes out of left field that just will specialize in one scenario and
Well,
cannot hold a whole pace, but for a small
those countries that can get there like easily, where it's
Mhm.
not a long travel, they can get to Nice. Yeah, they might actually bring a specialist to come do it because they need an 8-minute or 7-minute chunk
Right.
of their time twice, you know?
All right. So here's what I would do if I were HYROX HQ. I would actually encourage that. I would say, listen, we're going to get more eyeballs on this thing if you can
Oh, yeah.
do that. If you can go
Yeah.
get somebody, even if they're not famous, which they probably aren't, but they're niche of whatever, a strong man. I don't know, not a strong man.
But-
You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be able to run very fast.
You
know
could
what I'm
maybe get somebody like a James Newberry from Australia.
Grow the sport, you know?
saying? Right.
Because
I also someone just said
Alright.
Ireland is not in the UK.
No, it's not.
Okay, so then who got that wrong?
I did.
Okay.
I said there was 4 countries. I said there was
Hey
4
Siri,
countries.
which countries are in the United Kingdom?
I think it's Great Britain, Wales, and Scotland, isn't it?
It's England, Wales, Scotland,
sorry.
and then
Great Britain, Great Britain's in the whole
United
island.
Kingdom.
You guys stop talking. Just trying to get Hey Siri,
Hmm?
how many countries are in the United Kingdom?
The United Kingdom consists of 4 constituent countries: England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales.
So you were partly right.
Did you guys hear that clearly?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's 4 countries, and Ireland, Scotland, and England get a spot, a team in the mixed relays, but Wales does not. I don't know why they were excluded.
Well, I think there's plenty of countries that were excluded. Again, I want to know how many teams there are.
20.
That's what.
There's 20 in the invite.
Wow. And they're all going to start in the same wave?
That was supposedly.
Why not? 20 people?
I might have to get to France. I currently wasn't planning to go. I might have to get to France.
It's on
I
Sunday
predict
night.
it's going to be one of the most exciting. I think it'll be the most exciting race of
I
the
think it's
weekend.
going to be fun to watch.
Dave,
And
I would
100%
carpool.
be
Dave, I
fast.
would carpool with you. Can you get a boat or something? Because
I
I
would
know
think so.
you like to go long distances.
I'm
guys
pretty
better
sure the
start
minivan
now.
floats.
2-month journey.
Yeah, minivan's got floats on it. We'll be fine.
Why are you bouncing? Are you really excited, Anthony?
I got a ball. I don't know if you guys know this. This is what I sit on all day.
Ooh.
Core workout.
Can I do a quick side diversion? Did you happen to hear the conversation I had with the running public about testosterone replacement therapy?
I actually heard a little bit about that today. A little bit. I didn't get through it all. It was part of my commute.
Well, the more I listen to the more I listened to Kirk, the more it made me want to do it. He's like, oh yeah, my clients, they have a little bit more pep in their step, and then that makes them want to train better. So, and then he said, and then at the end of the day, it's negligible. So if I start taking this, okay, would you knock me for it? If I start taking it and then like, I'm not going to win my age. I'm still not going to win my age group. I'm still not even close to the fittest of my age group. Would you think I'm a bad person morally?
You're giving yourself a competitive advantage, so it's up to you. If you're not competing, then it doesn't matter. But if you're competing, then there's the question.
So what if I just do it and then I go up to the timing guys and I learn how to speak German and I say, hey, just take me out the results. I just want to know personally.
If everybody you finish ahead of says it's okay, then it's okay. It's like cutting a line, right? If everybody you finish ahead of says it's okay, then you're allowed to do it.
But I'd be the only one who's being honest about it, though. In reality, how many men do we think my 50 plus are already?
Oh, I'm sure there's a ton. Yeah, there's guys that do that.
Right.
Especially
so
like
I'm gonna end up like Hiller, the only guy that gets penalized for admitting it.
Well, in CrossFit, there's a therapeutic use exemption too.
Well, then I'll just get that.
The masters athletes can submit a TUE, and they can try to say, well, I'm not going outside of your testing limits anyways. It's just for my own personal health. Like, and some of those get approved. So if they get approved for it, then you can still compete.
So if I get a doctor's note, I'm good.
I don't know if they have the same exemption for water or not.
You have to get it cleared. Yeah, no. Anything that's tested by WADA, though, any extraneous supplement or extraneous hormone is illegal for competition. Not illegal like legally, except for in some countries it is, but like, yeah.
I think to answer Matt's original question, if you took testosterone therapy, and then I don't think they have this wave, because in actuality every wave of HYROX is competitive, is it not? The open division is competitive, it's competitive. So in my mind, unless you crush your timing chip, you're cheating, right? You're cutting the course. No matter how small it may be an advantage or not, you're cutting the course. If you were run Spartan open with it, have a blast, go for it. I don't care.
So does HYROX need to have an open wave, or should we have the open qualify age group and age group qualify age group?
Or should we remove the recently added steroid rule?
Was there a steroid rule added?
Yeah, it's in the rule book now.
No, I know that.
But yeah. If you're taking it and it says in the rules not to take it and you run, it's cheating.
Yep.
It's pretty cut and dry.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys know what I decide.
Yeah. But if you're taking it just as a dude and you're not competing and it makes you feel good, I say more power to you.
What's the cycle of it? Like, how soon would I have to get off of it? Like, how long does it stay in your system?
I have no idea.
Like, if I use it for 6 months, don't compete.
Ask a doctor.
I use it for 6 months, don't compete, get off of it. Or is it one of those things where like massive atrophy happens if you stay off it? I don't know.
No,
well, I think
you'll always have a competitive advantage. You use it once, you're gonna have it forever. Like, it's easier to get back to a point that you've been at where you shouldn't have been at than it is to like get there originally.
How can you say shouldn't have been? I have low testosterone. I'm only going back to a slightly normal level. I have low T. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I'm half kidding here. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. I know.
I have no idea what my levels are, but I think I can tell they're a little bit lower.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that you could find in the athletic community who could let you know where you're going to need to cycle off on that one.
Okay, I'm gonna do some Googling, and then like I said, I'll be like Hiller. I'll be honest. I'll tell you guys, but I am legit thinking about it. When he said that, he's like, "Oh, really? I will give me more pep in my step. I need that."
Well, that's why people do it.
Yeah, that's why
they do it because it works.
Yeah, that's why it's illegal, is because it works.
Right,
yeah.
But the way he explained it just made it sound even better. I just want to be tired less. I just want to. That's all. A little bit tired less and recover faster. Just those two things. I don't need.
That's
like
what it's for.
A couple of years ago, did you have more energy and like you were better off?
Yes.
And coincidentally, weren't you exercising a hell of a lot more? Just
saying. Hell of a lot more. No. More. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could I'm sure you could Google like a men's health center near you, and you could go find one within a couple miles of your house.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah.
dude. I could go to the place where I got my labrum, where I got my I got my, what do you call that shot? That's
Cortisone.
Steroids? No.
yeah, that's the that's like where like the Hawks train. They have like the best doctors in Atlanta. If I went there and said,
Oh yeah, then you definitely can get some.
give me some stuff. Like I said, I'll be honest, I'll tell you, I'm really considering it. But no, listen, Dave, it's a downward spiral. I'm more tired, exercise less, I get fatter. It's like the opposite, right?
I know this is why, like, you and I are in the same age bracket. This is why I don't stop.
I
Because
thought you're
once
younger than me.
I'm like 3 years younger than you.
Okay.
Like
In 4 days, I'm 52. How old are you?
48. I'll be 49 this year.
Okay. I'm telling you, man, those last 2 years have been the worst.
That's why I don't stop. Because
Do
I
you
know
have
when
lower
I stop,
testosterone
I'll
now
never
than
get going again.
do you have less testosterone now than you had when you were 27?
I assume so. It's guess. But I'm still very much interested in being competitive in my age group. So if I was in a boat where I was not competitive and I went to my doctor and he said you're low in testosterone, absolutely I would consider it. But I'm still wanting to be competitive, which is why I don't even ask.
Got it.
I don't want to know.
You don't
So
want
I
to be
just
tempted.
pushing. Yeah, I'm pushing with what I got. But
Okay, you know
No,
what I might
not-
do? I might sign up for the enhanced games.
there you go. That's right.
Well,
Watch a video by Mitch Hooper. Watch Mitch Hooper's YouTube video on peptides. You'll be interested in that.
All right, let's get back to this. Anthony, do you have any other good questions you want to cover from the audience, other than the guys you offended?
yeah, I was just gonna say I didn't mean to offend you. I just Googled it. It says Northern Ireland is part of the UK. So
Never get into politics, man.
yeah, I don't want to be involved in it. I'm sorry. Um, who would that guy ask? Who's on the juice in the Elite 15?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think Anthony has to recuse himself because he's related to somebody in the Elite 15. He would never want to accuse any of his competitors. I know you would never accuse anybody, actually. I don't think either one of you would ever accuse anybody publicly.
No.
No. But I will say that not just the Elite 15, but if you took all the competitive waves of HYROX, I wouldn't be surprised to see, especially in the men, between 35 to 50%. And I'm saying that because this is why
In the
I'm saying
Elite 15 or overall?
overall.
Like everybody
saying
doing it, a
that-
third of the people are on something.
Taking, like, I'm saying the competitive waves, not like if you take out the people who are just going out for a fun run, right?
I want to
then
do it for fun, but you're accusing me of, you say I can't because I have a chip on. I just want to do it for fun. I'm not trying to get in the Elite 15.
Well, tell HYROX to make a wave like that. That lets you just
But
do
I'm
it
just
for
saying,
fun.
so who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the people who are highly competitive, right?
Okay.
That are gunning for high times, that are gunning for age group times like that. And I'm saying this from my gym experience, right? When I went to the gym, and especially when I was younger, I would say 50% of the guys that worked out in the gym were on something, and they were not attempting to compete at anything. They just wanted to look better. If you go to HYROX and see where a lot of the racers come from is the gym environment, and a lot of them from a bodybuilding environment, from an aesthetic environment, right? That is where a lot of the people are taking stuff, and then they roll over, and they're not going to stop once they get competitive because they're going to need that advantage. They're going to need to keep rolling with it. So yeah, I would not be surprised. Am I right? Never going to know, but it would not surprise me at all.
So I come from the other side. I've always been in a competitive environment and
Mhm.
like never went to like the aesthetics one. So I have always assumed like, oh, nobody's on it unless they come back with a positive test. And then I'm like, really? But I just think it's less people than you think. That's for sure. I didn't think 30-40%. And I don't
I
like
surely hope you're right. I would love to be wrong.
I think those 60 people that are the top 30 women and 30 men on the either side, if you tested every single one of them and more than 3 to 5 actually popped and came back with something, I'd be shocked.
Would the 3 to 4 or 5 would the 4 to 5 shock you? Because a 4
What's
to
that?
5 wouldn't shock me.
three to five of the 60, the top 30
Yeah.
men and top 30 women, 3 to 5 of those total. Yeah, that I would, if more than that, if like 6 or 7 or 8 came back and said they tested positive, I'd be shocked. I'd be like, really? Like, why?
So fairly, you would go say between 5 to 10%.
Yeah, maybe 5%, like even on the lower end. But it's just because like I've known a lot of competitive people. I've seen what they've done. And so I don't like the argument of, oh, they're really good, they have to be on something. I'm like,
No.
I've seen people that have been really good, never on anything, and you like they are amazing, and the people just don't understand really what it is they do. But the other part of that is I don't like the physique argument too, because some people there are like, oh, not everybody's genetic. Well, you're talking about literally the 1% of a sport. This sport has, thousands of people doing it. You're talking about 15 of them, and the genetic freaks do rise to the top.
Yes.
Right. So there is that component. Now, I don't know what they could be on. I'm not sure, but if they are on something, and I hope they do get popped, I hope it's not like Hyrox is just saying, we're gonna test you, and then they only test them like at Worlds on the podiums or something, because then people would have time. I want them to show up at the houses like now,
Yeah, but
a
that's
week
not
from
going to
now,
happen.
2 weeks
That's
from
not
now.
going to happen.
Show up at the house and surprise them when they're 2 months out of competition, because that's when, like, if they were on something, I think
Trust
that's
me,
what
even if they test at Worlds, it'll be a surprise to most because they haven't done it. And they said that, and the fact that they said, oh, we might do it at one of these majors, and then they didn't, is a big strike against them. That they should not have said unless they were
I
going to
don't think they said they're going to do it at a major. I thought they just said they're going to test this year.
They said, don't be surprised.
Yeah, I have a quote somewhere because I used that quote.
They said, don't be surprised.
They're like, hey, why are you getting mad at us? We weren't going to put it in until we're ready, but don't be surprised. And then shortly after, the rule came, but then we've still seen no test.
Well,
we're not going to see out of competition testing for a long time.
Are they going to count the World Championships or the LCQ as one of those majors? Because they could still test at those then and meet this year. So,
oh yeah. But I will be one of the people who will be surprised
if they
I don't
test,
think I don't think they're going to do it.
I think they test at Worlds. I think they'll back it up. I think they'll test the podium at Worlds, but you won't have results. So like, everything will come out, and then you won't have results for that for what, 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Why would it take that long for a test?
Because they got to test for like 50 different things.
Yeah.
30 different.
It's not like pee on a stick. Oh, it's green. You're no good.
Yeah,
green,
that doesn't
good. Red, you're
exist.
bad.
Listen, I watch these border shows and they test the drugs, and that's all they do. They put it in the thing, they shake it, up, turn purple, meth. It's not like that.
That's for one test, though. That's for one supplement. There's an array of things that they could be on. So
is meth banned by WADA? I don't know. I haven't looked.
I think so.
It's not. Listen, weed seems to be on it, and it's like weed is not performance enhancing.
Ross Rebliati in Canada lost his gold medal because of weed.
Cocaine's on there.
What a dummy. All right,
So-
Sean thinks 5 of the top 20 are on something.
There you go.
High. I think that's high.
That's yeah. That would be.
55%.
See, when I said you bring in everybody, right? Because I actually think it's more so further away from the top 15, a higher percentage further away from the top.
I think the age groupers would have a higher percentage of
100. That I
positive
agree
tests
with.
than
That
the
I
elite.
agree.
100%.
Age groupers are try-harders. They're way more. Listen, I'm not educated enough, and I feel like I don't need to give myself more work, but I think I would like to. I think maybe I will next time I go to that place, which I'm going to go to because my other hip is now fucking jacked up. Find out about what things are, what they cost, how much it improves, and like how realistic, because that's always the thing too, right? Is financial piece of it. Like how, if you can do it relatively inexpensively and consistently, obviously you still have to put in the work, et cetera, et cetera. Because I don't know enough about that stuff.
No. There's a lot. There's a lot to it.
There you go, Matt. I just looked it up. You can get a 6-month injection. Looks like they inject it into your arm or something, and it stays there for 6 months for $500.
If I get one in each arm, do I get bigger?
I don't know.
That's it? That's it? It's not any kind of consistent thing?
Well, there are. You can go there once a month for consistent injections. or you can just get a one-time, I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if it works better or what. A quick Google search, that's what I come back with.
Well, I think as our sport gets bigger, we will have a lot more people get called out. I think we're still so small. Nobody really wants to be that guy or gal. I mean, if you look at major, like, major sports, there's 1,000 blogs and podcasts outside of the major media that could say whatever they want because there's no whatever. And in CrossFit, you basically have one guy, right? You have Hillard being the first guy to actually openly come out and say, and if it was bigger, there'd be more. And as our sport gets bigger, there'll be people who are willing to say it is a lot to say publicly an accusation. So,
Yep. Yep. And I don't have anyone specifically to accuse. I don't have knowledge of anyone or even really have anyone where I say I suspect someone. I just know gym culture. And from the gym culture, what I've seen, what people, mostly the guys, will do just for aesthetics alone. And then I imagine give them something to actually compete for. I just, that's where I'm grabbing my guess from. And I hope Anthony's right and I'm wrong.
I hope I'm right. I like to believe in people that like they aren't actually doing that. Now, I mean, some people probably are. I'd definitely be disappointed, but I think there are just less people doing it than people believe because I don't know. I've seen how hard some of these people actually work and what they're actually doing and what they're giving up. And I've seen other people who say they want to be the champion, say they want to do this, or say they want a podium or make the Elite 15, but they're not willing to sacrifice what it takes. And it's not giving up one party a month. It's, you don't go out, you don't drink, you don't there's a lot to it. And it's just too much for some people. You do track your food sometimes. That's just part of it. And it's too much for some. I just sent in our little chat. I don't know if everybody can see this. The thing I looked up for you, Matt, about testosterone replacement. This place, and this is just one place I found really quick. Testosterone replacement therapy. You can get injections, which is $80 a month. You go to the office once a month, and you just get shots once a month. Or you can get pellet therapy, and this one says every 3 to 4 months they make a 1 centimeter incision in your skin, and they insert a pellet, and it releases very predictable over 3 to 4 months, and it's $450 for every 3 to 4 months. So you're looking at somewhere between $80 to $120 a month.
So I gotta read this. If you haven't felt yourself lately, the culprit could be a drop in your testosterone. Since men lose approximately 1 to 3% of their testosterone every year after the age of about 30. So I have lost 22 on the low end and 66 on the high end percentage of my testosterone, and one that can almost be corrected easily. We offer testosterone replacement in 2 different forms, injection and pellet, like you just said. So you might have missed that, Dave. At age 50, you are now between 20 and 60% lower in testosterone. Why would you not want to get back up to the level that you were at when you were 30? Shouldn't even be illegal. This to me, I'm like having the argument of why is pot illegal? This is ridiculous. If I lost that much, I should be able to get it back.
I'm playing by the rules. That's all I know, because I am still competing. I'm looking for a podium this year, so I'm playing by the rules.
Yeah, Matt, if you're going to do it,
why wouldn't I?
Okay, so by that argument, Dave, so now we're not kidding. I'm 100% serious. Okay. Dave, you're on your show, which I listened to. If I didn't mention that, you're talking about the time you got in your DEKA doubles and all that, right? Here I am, just a guy that just wants. Are you saying that if I come in 178th out of 250, you would call me a cheater and say, "Oh my God," instead of being 180th or 183rd or whatever the difference is in my negligible physical improvement, but I feel a lot better?
All right, let me ask you this. If you cut part of the course, did you cheat?
Oh my God. You're really okay. All right. I hear you, man. I hear you. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah. Does it matter to me? Hell no. If you're 180th, I'm hunting for a podium. No, it doesn't matter to me, but it should matter to you.
If you get an age group podium, Matt, just refuse it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If I somehow rise to the top, which I don't think I will, because there are a lot of men, there are men in their 60s that would crush me right now, who aren't on the sauce in DEKA or HYROX.
It's just like those professional bodybuilders say, like, it doesn't matter if you were taking all the same things they were taking, you still wouldn't beat them.
Yeah.
Like,
But like I said, it's the rules. You know, if you're
Yeah.
willing to skirt the rules,
Well, I think they need to have an open wave, a true open wave. Those of us that just want to compete, and I want to last longer in bed with my wife, okay, and have a little bit more energy during the day, okay. To just be, can we just be honest here?
look, Hyrox is not
What, is
going to
that so wrong? Satisfy my wife? Is that so wrong?
no, but I feel kind of bad for Stacy.
You should. As any,
That's
as
right.
any,
I felt bad for her for a long time, man. It's okay.
right? As anybody who's really married to him. I mean, listen, it's sort of it's funny. It's kind of a trick though that God plays, right? Because you can still get a woman pregnant at age 70, as all these rich guys do when their fifth wife is a 22-year-old. Like that shouldn't be allowed. That should be banned. Can we make that against the rules? You can't have babies when you're 70.
Oh, yeah. Your kid shouldn't be confused that you're his grandpa.
Right? Well, you won't be because you'll be dead by the time he's old enough. All right. I think we covered this topic. I'm good for this week, this first ever live show. So if you're joining us afterwards, welcome.
I had one more thing I wanted to ask Dave about, and that was the RX1 season. All we did was talk about HYROX.
Oh,
This is a hybrid show.
Yes.
So if we can talk about the RX1 season, I'm very interested in it. I think it's an awesome competition.
and
I
remember,
wanna
this is only
know-
the first week, by the way. There might be other weeks we talk DEKA. Who knows? But go ahead.
Well,
Okay.
when are they going to go to Western Canada or sprout down to the US?
So they're really struggling. So they haven't even advanced east to Toronto yet. So this is where they would like to go next, is into the Toronto area. It is a small company. But they want to expand. They want to expand into Toronto, and then they would love to go to the States. So it's just, they're much like Savage, where they're just growing slow, right? They don't want to overstep their bounds, and they just want to keep going. And unfortunately, because they are rooted in the French culture, the language barrier has been a big issue, right? And I know you've looked on the websites and stuff, and it can be very confusing, right? So even though they have a translation to English through Google, it can be really kind of confusing and hard to keep up to. So yeah, but yes, they do want to expand, and it is a great event.
I mean, if anybody doesn't know, RX1 looks like a lot of fun. It's a lot of running. It's triplets and couplets and fun movements. You know, there's some skill movements in there. So you have to do double unders and muscle ups and overhead squats, but it's also just volume and capacity. So it's a lot of running and volume, but not as heavy of weights as like trying to do a CrossFit event.
Yeah,
So
and
there's not the barrier of strength.
And there's a lot of different divisions. So yeah, when you do a pro, you can do muscle ups and pistol squats and handstand walks, but you drop down to expert, you're not going to get muscle ups. You might get chest to bar pull-ups, and you might get handstand push-ups on the wall. So everything drops down. So
is there an open wave?
Yes, Matt, they have what they call a discovery wave. It's perfect for you.
Can I take TRT?
You know what? I don't know. I've never read that if it's a lot in the rule book. I imagine they probably go by the CrossFit standards.
Listen, last word on TRT, because I just want to make sure I say this. And by the way, I will keep you updated. I'll let you know what I decide. But if you're listening to this and you want to DM me with your experience, I will not out you. And if I get a bunch of DMs that are guys like, dude, you got to try it, I might. Well, and
then a bunch of DMs,
then,
you got to buy me on my 35 to 50% then.
Okay, well, let's
go on.
I'm guessing if I get DM'd, it won't be the Elite 15. It'll be some regular dudes. But if you're out there, I will not out you.
Matt's in November gonna come out all jacked and ripped to HYROX.
Yeah, if your arms are bigger than mine in November, I'm gonna be pissed off.
This is like when I was in stand-up, the comics that would talk, again, before weed was everywhere, comics would mention it on stage. Like they knew if they made a weed joke that like they'd get found. Like the crowd would be like, just fine. Hey man, are you holding? Like I've got it, you know. Anyway, but speaking of competitions that we've been promised, one Dave Claxton said that something was coming. Is it the DX1, the Dave Claxton one?
I'm having issues with charities, actually. Believe it or not.
Charities.
I got a venue and everything, and then I had a charity set up, and then it fell through, and now I'm kind of screwed. So I don't know what's going to happen. So I cannot promise right now.
So you're saying you wanted to do it like in America, it's called 501c3, and then all the money goes to that. Is that what you're saying? You couldn't set up one of those?
Yeah. Yeah. I was struggling with the charity setup. Yeah.
Can't you just pick somebody to do just find one you already like and say, hey, we'll
That's
give you the
kind of
money?
what I did, and that's where it fell apart. So I
All
went
right.
with a charity, a local ALS charity, Lou Gehrig's disease, and I thought that'd be great. I have a connection with that myself, and I thought it'd be all set up, no problem. And nope, way harder than I thought, way more difficult, way harder than getting the venue, than getting the equipment, anything else.
Are you saying because you don't want to have to pay taxes on it and like you don't want the pass
No, I'm
through?
saying because I was going to give the money, all of it. I wasn't going to make any money.
Right, but I'm saying you could just do that anyway. If you created a PayPal or an Eventbrite, but then you are going to have to pay the taxes on it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was more just I wanted all the money that came in to go to the charity. I didn't want to complicate things. I was trying to make it really simplistic and fair. Because I mean, that's what I want. I don't have an ambition to be that kind of business. I don't want to run that kind of business. I just wanted to put on a fun event that would give some money to charity. And it ended up being much more of a problem than I thought. And plus, I'm a guy who still has a full-time job and a family and a lot of other things to do. So it became a real issue, and I have not been able to square it out in my spare time. So very disappointed with that.
All right. Well, I just thought of something that might help you, but we'll talk about it offline.
All right.
And it doesn't involve anything illegal or illegal drugs.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
All right. Are we good?
I'm good.
We're good.
I'm glad to finally get to be on a show with Anthony. I never had a chance
Yeah,
before.
Dave.
Waiting for this, man.
Perfect.
Well, listen, you guys are welcome. I want to do this weekly, and I know that's a lot to ask. And I know we can rotate, but we could have one or both of you on every week. So
It doesn't always have to be 3 people. It could be 4. We could have a panel. You never
that's
know.
what I'm saying. I'm down.
I can
send
tell
you
a lot more than 2 people who they're wrong.
I'll send you my my work schedules every Monday whenever you want to go live. I'll let you know what time's available, and if I can make it, great. If not, then